Hey guys, Chris here with another 4K tech video for you today. I know I did my unboxing of my Fossil Gen 6 smartwatch, and that seems to be a pretty popular one you guys have been watching, so I wanted to go ahead now about 2 weeks later and give you guys a follow-up of my experience with it, using it every day, how it's done, and if you should buy it. So I first wanted to say that overall I've been pretty happy with this watch. It came to me right at launch, so I got it, I pre-ordered it. It came to me right when it launched. You guys see when that video was aired. I've used it every day since then. And so far, I've actually been quite impressed with it. Now, the price of it, for that $300 mark, it is on kind of the high end of some of the smartwatches out there, for Android at least. If you guys have used the previous gen, the Gen 5, or the sports smartwatch that was kind of the early Gen 5 with that 3100 processor, that's going to be the best comparison I can give you guys. I came from the Fossil Sports smartwatch, which I used for a couple years because I bought that when that came out, and jumped up to the Gen 6 from there. So obviously I gained a few features, but really what I was interested in is that new 4100 processor. What I can tell you guys, if you're familiar with the Gen 5 variant of the Fossil smartwatch, is that this is going to be very familiar to you. The band sizes and the overall case size, very similar to those, almost identical. When you're talking about the internals on this, it's got new Wi-Fi, it's got new Bluetooth, so it's got some upgraded chipsets that are inside of it, especially that processor. But when we're talking about the battery, it's still basically I believe a 310 milliamp hour battery inside. It's still got the same RAM and same hard drive space as the Gen 5 smartwatches did. So if you're familiar with those at all, it's not a complete ground up redesign. It is very similar to those. Obviously we have our speaker on the one side. We have our rotating crown on the other side here, which activates the watch. It controls the menu. Obviously if you go in, you can see what it does there. We've got our two programmable buttons on it. And I have the bottom one set to the flashlight mode, which is very helpful, and top one is for my Google Pay. So this is still running the legacy edition, I guess, of Android Wear, the 2.1, I believe. It is slotted to get the new Android 3.0 sometime in spring once Fossil goes through it and make sure it adapts to their watch. But that hasn't yet hit the watch. So what you're getting for your money with this new one, as opposed to the Gen 5, you're getting that upgraded fast charging ability. As you see the dual split rings there. We have a new sensor around the back that does SpO2, so your blood oxygen level, and a better kind of real-time constant pulse monitoring. And then we've got obviously our chipset inside that really makes this the new watch. Once the Android Wear 3.0 comes out for this watch, I believe we're going to see a pretty drastic improvement. Already, I've noticed in the time I've had it, the 4100 processor series has been far more reactive. This 4100 processor has been very responsive to me and has made this a much more usable device than past watches I've seen with it. One thing I want to point out is battery life, because that's obviously a big consideration in these products. And they tout the fast charging ability of this watch, which it does charge pretty quickly, but when I put it on the charger at the end of the night, when I go to sleep, it doesn't really matter how quickly it charges as long as it's charged by morning. So I think they're a little bit flawed in their quest to make fast charging as opposed to just longer batteries, but that is my opinion completely. The battery life this is kind of what I've noticed with it. I work 12-hour shifts, so obviously I take the watch off the charger and put it on before I go to work. I work 12 hours, I come home, do some stuff when I get home. So the average day, probably 15, 16 hours of the watch being off the charger. And I can tell you when I check the battery before I charge it again, I'm still at 50 to 60% battery life. So if you guys remember the older Android Wear, the older Fossil watches, you can make it through that same time period, but you'd be closer to that 30% mark on battery. So we already have a pretty decent jump on it. And I have everything left on the watch except for Wi-Fi. So my other watch, my Fossil Sports smartwatch, I had gone to the custom battery settings and done quite a lot. with kind of some of the features. And this one doesn't seem to have the custom mode quite the same. You can toggle stuff on and off. But I've left mine on daily mode, and it's been great. I have everything functioning, the whole watch. I mean, all the sensors that it comes with, I've just left working just to see how they do. And I have no issues with battery life. So that's really been pretty astonishing. Obviously, it'll still go into that low power mode, like the time only mode. If you need to have just a watch for an extended period of time with no charger, it'll do that. But the 4100 processor has been a pretty major update. Well, that is about all I have for you guys today. That is the Fossil Gen 6 smartwatch. Hope you guys have enjoyed. I have pre-ordered the new Pixel 6 Pro, so I'm super excited to get that in, and I'll be sure to make a video comparing it to the Pixel 3 XL that I've had for now about 3 years, and let you guys know how they are, similar and different. But let me know if you guys have any questions about this watch. It's been great to me so far. I do recommend it. I have some friends that have the Samsung things. Obviously Samsung, you don't have Google Assistant, you don't have Google Pay built in, and those things are just a little bit frustrating. Not the end of the world, you can kind of work around, but just having a true Android-based watch is a huge thing when it comes to most true Android phones. Pixels, when you get in the Motorola's, stuff like that. I think you'll find that the actual Fossil series is the closest thing right now to a Pixel watch or to a true Android watch. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I'll be sure to make some more follow-up videos if you'd like. Otherwise, stay tuned for that Pixel 6 video. It'll be coming soon. And thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.